So recently I did a video on comparing the Oculus Quest to the Oculus Rift S, and I don't feel like I explained the differences between the actual quality of the rendering itself. So that's what this video is going to be about. A few comments were actually asking me which screen was better and the resolution, and some people were getting triggered because the Quest, of course, can't display the graphics as well as the Rift S can. So in this video, I will hopefully explain that properly and show you the differences. So starting off with the screen resolution, the Quest actually has a much higher screen resolution than the Rift S, sporting a OLED panel of 1440 by 1600 per eye at 72 Hertz. Now, this compares to the Rift S, which has a fast switching LCD, which won't display you true blacks, at 1280 by 1440 per eye. And let's just remember that won't display you true blacks. It is at a higher refresh rate though. It's running at 80 Hertz refresh rate. Now, the panel on the Quest is able to run at 90 Hertz when you sacrifice some battery life. People are also trying to mod the Quest to run at 90 Hertz because Oculus did say that that is possible. And then not only would the Quest actually have a higher resolution, it would also have a higher refresh rate. But currently, the Quest has a higher resolution, but a lower refresh rate. Of course, the Quest does have a mobile processor, and therefore is not able to display the graphics as well, a full-blown gaming PC can. So therefore, the graphics are downscaled. Now, in my last video, I did say that they weren't downscaled as much, and when you are playing, you won't really notice it. And people got really triggered because of that. So I decided to record a few clips comparing the two just to show you the actual differences. So first off, we have Beat Saber. So as you can see here, the Oculus Quest and the Rift S, Beat Saber doesn't really make that much of a difference. Both of them look pretty much the same, and honestly, I don't really notice the difference, even if there is one. They both have the modded songs. Honestly, I don't really notice a difference here, and this is exactly what I mean. Most of the extremely popular games, you won't really notice the difference. Now in games like VR Chat, the custom characters from people are actually blocked out. And there was one comment saying that the Quest will never be able to run PC games, and I answered to that comment, well, of course agreeing to it, because the Quest as a standalone with a mobile processor will never be able to run PC games. But I have been running PC games on the Quest. Of course, you do need a gaming PC. I am using something in the form of a Link, the Oculus Link, but it's completely wireless and it's actually extremely playable. It's called ALVR, and if you want me to, I can make a video on that, on how to connect Steam VR to your Oculus Quest, for free of course. And yeah, and run PC games on the Quest wirelessly. Of course, as I said, you do need a gaming PC though. But yeah, going back to the game comparison, none of these games are particularly demanding, but they are the type of games that come to mind when you think VR. So these are like the more popular games that I would know of right now, and that's why they're here. So the next game would be Job Simulator. Again, very simple graphics. As you can see, they both look pretty much identical, both do the exact same thing. So not much of a difference there at all. In fact, I would say it's the exact same thing. Now, Robo Recall, as I did say last time, is a game that does have downscaled graphics. Now, when people ask me about the most beautiful game in VR right now, I would normally give them this game because of the graphics. They just seem extremely realistic, and the attention to detail is absolutely insane. So this is usually the game I would throw people in for first impressions, because not only is the gameplay actually really good, but as you can see here, the graphics are also pretty damn amazing. As you can see on the Quest, the graphics are downscaled, unfortunately, but that actually doesn't take away from the gameplay. So when you're in the game and when you're playing, you totally forget about the graphics, and the gameplay is the exact same. If you ask me, it totally doesn't matter. When I was buying the Quest, I was worried about downscaled graphics myself. But then when I got it, I realized that it's the gameplay that matters. And as long as the gameplay is there, it actually doesn't matter how simple the graphics are. The gameplay is still the same. The next game is Superhot, and again, this game I don't think has the very most demanding graphics. It's basically just red guys made out of glass. Time only moves when you move, really good game, recommended. Doesn't look downscaled to me, looks identical to the PC version. So if you're into any of the games I'm showing right now, as you can see, they're pretty much identical. It doesn't take away from the gameplay, and you shouldn't really be worried about Quest-wise, PC-wise. Now, the next game is Vader Immortal. This is actually the last game that I have a comparison of, and then I'm actually going to talk a little bit about the Oculus Link and what that will do for the Quest. Vader Immortal, as you can see here, I only had Vader Immortal 1 for the PC. I had both for the Quest, so I'm doing Vader Immortal 2 on the Quest, Vader Immortal 1 on the Rift S. So, as you can see here, both look absolutely amazing. Maybe the graphics are a little bit downscaled in the Quest, but to be completely honest, I can't see it. Or it just doesn't matter that much. So yeah, as you can see, the graphics, they really don't seem to be that downscaled on the Quest. The developers seem to be doing an extremely good job of optimizing the games for the Quest to run smoothly and be able to keep those frames there, enough of the frames to not feel motion sick. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the Link, because I'm not sure if everyone knows about it, because seeing the comments last time, especially that one, I don't think that person knew about the Link. What the Link is going to do is essentially going to take your Oculus Quest and turn it into a Rift S, as long as you have a gaming PC. And that's a massive advantage, because not only do you get to play your PC titles if you want the graphics, you also get to play your Quest games. So basically, if you're worried about graphics and you want to get the Rift S, I don't really understand why you wouldn't wait for the Link to come out, because then not only do you have a standalone headset, but you also have a PC VR headset, which just makes so much more sense, especially if they're planning on keeping the Oculus Rift S at the price it currently is at. Because to me, it doesn't make much sense paying the same amount of money for a PC VR headset as for a standalone and PC VR headset, unless you just want it for the comfort, which I talked about in the last video right up there. So essentially what the Link is going to do is it's going to take your VR-ready PC, and it's going to be a USB-C to a USB Type-A cable, and you're going to plug one end into the Quest and the other end into your PC, and the Oculus software is going to recognize it, and it's going to play Steam VR games. Steam VR is going to recognize it just as it recognizes the Rift S, and you're going to be able to play all your titles on that. Now, the only reason I can think of that you might want to get a Rift S instead of a Quest is if you don't want to pay that extra money, because the Oculus Link is actually going to cost you about $70. So, you know, if you want a full-blown PC VR headset and be ready to play all your lovely Steam VR titles and your Oculus titles from your PC with the great graphics, even though I honestly don't think they're that bad, as we have seen, then you might want to go for the Rift S, because then you're completely ready for it, and you don't have to pay that extra amount of money to get extra things to make it work with the PC. But if you are willing to pay that extra amount of money, then you really should consider the Oculus Quest, because sure, you're paying 70 more, so that comes out to be about 520. It's still less than the Valve Index, it's still less than the HTC Vive. I would really consider that. You're getting not only a PC VR headset, but also a standalone headset, and let's remember that, because as I said in my last video, this is a huge game changer for VR. Being able to move around tetherless is a completely different experience to being tethered to something. That feeling of not having a cable holding you back and being able to explore your virtual world freely, of course, if your room is bigger than mine, is absolutely amazing. So I would definitely consider the Quest over the Rift S. And I'm saying this as a person who owns both. And I'm saying it because I'm slightly disappointed that I didn't know this earlier. So I'm trying to help you guys out not make the same mistake that I did. Especially now that the Link is getting closer and closer, because it is November and we're all very excited for the Link to come out. I think this is a really great time to start considering which headset you really want to get. And I honestly don't think that there should be a thought about this unless you just want to grab a headset, be ready enough to go right now in PC VR, and you don't want the standalone option and you want it to be more comfortable, then get the Rift S. But if you're willing to wait 2 more weeks, pay an extra $70, have both standalone and PC VR, Quest is the obvious option. And honestly, that's what I would do, because then you won't regret it in the future. You'll have both, you'll be covered. And of course, in December, the Oculus Quest is also supposed to be getting hand tracking. I'm not exactly sure why this hand tracking isn't coming to the Oculus Rift S, but the Oculus Quest is supposed to get hand tracking. So that's going to be absolutely amazing. And I've played around with hand tracking before. I have a leap motion. I have connected that to the Oculus Rift S, and it's incredible. Of course, you don't have the haptic feedback that you would have with the controllers, which is still necessary to feel most of the games, and the leap motion itself doesn't really have a great field of view, but the hand tracking that will be in the Oculus Quest will be using the inside-out tracking cameras, which means that the field of view will be insane, and hopefully Facebook can do something good to make this hand tracking work better than the leap motion tracking right now. So yeah, that's really it. I felt the need to make this video to explain a few things, help you guys out a little bit more. And yeah, I hope this video helped you out a little bit, that the comparison showed you that there really isn't that much of a difference, especially in these games. If you do want me to try out a different game, please leave that game down in the comments below, and I will do my best to check it out. And yeah, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you want to okay, time for the water.